H3H3 Productions, more specifically, Ethan Klein.
You're a simp, bro. You're a simpleton.
You might remember him as that guy who put out decent videos back in 2015, 2016, and had way funnier friends. Nowadays, he's known as the guy with a shitty podcast, terrible hot takes, and picking fights with Keemstar, Leafy, and James Charles. This is an adult. Recently, he reacted to the Zack Snyder Justice League teaser trailer, and it's almost as bad as his Joker video.
The Joker apparently is like an incel in the movie.
Almost.
Taxi Driver was about an incel.
Yep.
He was obsessed, weird, incel psycho.
There's so much wrong with this video, so let's go ahead and break it down.
So anyway, you guys to kind of tell me, doesn't just have a song? It's not worth getting claimed for this shit.
Here's the first thing I wanted to point out. I think it's strange he's reacting to the black and white trailer posted on Twitter instead of the full color one posted on YouTube. I know you're thinking it doesn't matter, but since it's in black and white, they refer to it as Tryhard.
Well, I'm just baffled why it's black and white. It's
like, what? Tryhard.
Yeah, that's a good one.
No. This is Tryhard. This trailer's in black and white because that's how Zack Snyder was watching it for the last 3 years since it wasn't finished, which is why he's interested in doing a black and white version. I don't expect people outside the fandom or who haven't been following the Snyder Cut movement to know that, but to call it Tryhard just doesn't make any sense.
Here, I'll just mute it. Love hurts. Oh, shit. Oh, no, it's not that. It's Hallelujah, which I was like, oh, it's a Shrek song.
What are we talking about?
The song that is playing the whole time is just Hallelujah, Hallelujah. And I was like, oh, it's Shrek.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I get turning off the audio to avoid a copyright claim, but instead of focusing on the trailer, right off the bat he starts singing and they just start talking to each other, showing zero interest to what's on screen.
Did they play that in Shrek?
Yeah. It's a Shrek soundtrack song. For some reason, every Shrek soundtrack song is just a Shrek song forever. Like Smash Mouth is Shrek.
Shrek Mouth.
Somebody once swamped me an onion and I'm washing.
You see, one of the main things with reaction videos is that you gotta at least pay attention to the thing you're reacting to. It's pretty clear that they have no interest. At one point, Hila isn't even watching it.
I like that.
Clearly not caring, and they keep this up until finally.
I think it's gonna suck. All these superheroes, whenever they get together, it's
this
like...
trailer alone tells me this is gonna suck.
I'm sorry, you think it's gonna suck based off the trailer you're watching without sound, talking through, and not even paying attention to? Well, fuck it, makes sense to me. Also, the trailer isn't even over yet, and you think it's gonna suck? You know, say what you will about Angry Joe, but at least he watched the damn thing. He was just as annoying, though.
That's what Darkseid looks like! Well, I mean, he looks better than Steppenwolf. I'll give him that.
I feel bad for Ben Affleck because I really like him.
Ben Affleck is here? What? Ben Affleck is here?
As Batman.
Our best friend?
What the fuck?
Yes, they're both in the movie. They both have scenes where they're taking up the whole screen. If you were watching, you would have seen that. Again, proving they aren't paying attention. After that point, I don't even think they finished really watching the trailer, and then Dan tries to explain to them exactly what this movie is. And I love hearing him off screen trying to explain to them what it is, then watching them show no interest.
Why am I watching this?
It's being released.
It's being re-released. Zack Snyder didn't originally make this movie.
Oh. What?
So what is the Snyder Cut?
Okay, so he was making this movie, and then he had a personal tragedy and dropped out, and Joss Whedon took over and made the Justice League movie.
I love the first two sentences. Zack didn't make this movie. Followed up with, Zack was making this movie, then he had to drop out.
Zack Snyder didn't originally make this movie. He was making this movie, and...
Which is it? I'm pretty certain he means that Zack Snyder didn't make the theatrical cut. Anyway, he has an idea of what it is, but then he kind of loses it at the end.
He was making this movie, and then he had a personal tragedy and dropped out, and Joss Whedon took over and made the Justice League movie. It came out, it made a lot of money, but it pretty much universally everybody thinks it's
I never
terrible.
watched that. Yeah, I skipped that shit.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
6.3, damn, that's brutal.
And then for years, fans of Zack Snyder have petitioned Warner Brothers to let him finish his original version of the movie. That's what this is.
But they already filmed it, so what does that mean? He's just going to make some cuts here and there?
Yeah, it's like a special edition of the movie. I think they shot some new things, but not much. It's mostly just... And then they redid the CG and a bunch of shit.
Nice.
But there's like a massive amount of hype building up to this. And I think it's going to suck just as bad as the first one. So
well, how much can you polish a turd?
Right.
Alright, so a few things. The theatrical cut of Justice League didn't make a lot of money. I mean, $600 million is a lot of money, but for a movie to break even, it needs to make twice its budget. And Justice League barely did that. And this is much more than a special edition with some touched up CGI and some new scenes. Like he just said, Joss Whedon shot a whole new movie after Snyder left, and that was the 2017 Justice League. The Snyder Cut is what was filmed before he left and Joss Whedon took over. And the tiniest bit of research would tell you that it's completely different from the theatrical version. It's going to be 4 hours long, and it's going to be presented on HBO Max as a miniseries. And it's much more than just 2 hours of new footage. According to the Justice League cinematographer, Whedon only used about 10% of what Zack already filmed. And if you want to dig a little deeper, Ray Fisher, the actor who plays Cyborg, said that basically all his scenes were reshot.
Some things are like similar, like with the reshoots, as what we did for the original, and it's hard to like tell with certain shots of other people for scenes that I wasn't there for. But what I can tell you from my character and what you saw in the theatrical version, that every single scene, with the exception of the Gotham City police rooftop scene with Commissioner Gordon and Batman and Flash and all that, every single scene that I'm in was reshot. Oh. I reshot almost the entire film on my end. As far as other people's stuff, like where I wasn't there, I couldn't really tell you.
So clearly they went in with no knowledge or interest in the movie, and most of the confusion could have been cleared up with a simple Google search. I mean, for one thing, you could have figured out who's in it.
Oh, Ben Affleck is here?
Zack Snyder has given out a lot of information about it, and the movie and comic book sites have been covering it. They definitely should have been briefed better than they were in the video before they watched the trailer. This is very similar to the Joker video, based on an opinion on as little information as possible and going off misinformation. They don't watch the trailer, they don't show any interest, and then they decide it's gonna suck.
I think it's gonna suck. All these superheroes, whenever they get together, it's
this
like...
trailer alone tells me this is gonna suck.
What? Sure, they're entitled to their opinion, but when they form their opinion by ignoring the trailer and then give it misinformation, it kind of makes you a bit annoyed, doesn't it? These comments really just sum it up best. Come on, Ethan. You haven't seen it, you have zero investment, etc. Your opinion is completely useless. I often wonder why people will harp on something they know nothing about. You really need to do some research about this before you state your opinion. I think you basically summed up the H3 podcast. This is a bad take and misinformed on the details of the Snyder Cut. They don't know the movie's story, Snyder's works, why the trailer is black and white. They basically don't know anything and just assume a bunch of shit and then put it out for millions of people to see. Good job, H3. Welcome to H3H3. Let me introduce you to Ethan. Look at that ratio.
I'm so proud of this community.
And it just ends with them talking about Shoe Nice since he popped up in the chat.
Shoe Nice is in the chat, and he's typing Trump, and he's typing Ethan is a loser.
Oh, he is?
Awesome.
He's typing...
Hey, Shu.
What's up, Shu?
Did we get him to call in?
I'm sorry, I put him in timeout at the same time.
Oh, man.
Oh, you got timed out.
Should we have him call in?
Why is this in here? You can use this video as an example for the whole podcast. Hot takes and opinions based on misinformation and zero research. Yeah, this video was kind of garbage. It just adds to the catalog of shitty H3 videos. Funny, I remember back in the day when Ethan used to put shit in his mouth. Now it just comes out of it. That's gonna do it for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.
I think it's gonna suck.
What'd you say?
Well, how much can you polish a turd?
Right.